Right, welcome back. This is an updated version for my Bloodmage build, and it's gotten to a point where it is ridiculous. We're doing like millions of damage now, like millions and millions. As you'll see at the end of the video, I'll leave a clip in there of me doing like T4 Arbender, T4 Breach Boss. We do a King of the Mist, doing a Olaf boss kill as well. There's a couple others, but this thing is ridiculous for killing bosses. It's not the greatest mapper in my opinion, and there's a couple of other mechanics that you kind of want to stay away from. One being, one that I don't like to do is, for instance, doing the Trial of the Sekemes. I'm not necessarily super glad, I'm not super happy about using this build for that specific mechanic, and also the Ultimatum. I don't really like to use this build. Also for the Sync Your Lacrims, I've tried doing that with this build, but it's not great at that. So I would stay away from those specific mechanics and just focus on doing the rest of them, like the King of the Mist, and, Expeditions, or Arbender, or Chest, or something like that. That is just where she shines like crazy. So to go over the gear real quick, we do have a couple of upgrades here. In the past video I made about the build, it was around 15 div. It's now around 50 div for the build, I would say, right around that area. We're still rocking the same old attuned wand. So what you're looking for here is gain extra damage as cold and lightning. That's very important, and as close to 100% crit chance as you can get. And cast speed kind of is a nice extra mod. It's not 100% necessary, but it does help a lot. With the more cast speed, the faster you can throw out your sparks, the better. It's just so good. Now I was playing around with Orc, and I also played around with using Comet instead of Ice Wall, but I've gone back to using Spark and using the Ice Wall, or Frost Wall, it's called. Now, it is just incredible how well this functions together. But so for the helmet, we're still rocking an ES helmet with life mana and a bit of fire rest, just to kind of like get our fire rest to be like slightly above the 75. And then of course we are stacking as much life as we can, since we are a Bloodmage and that is basically our main defense. We're still using the Chore, but I did get an upgrade here. I got a level 19 instead of level 18. Sadly, it's not possible to get a level 20 as far as I know. So there won't be a 6-linked Greater Lightning Bolt, sadly. But still, very, very, very nice amulet. Then we got our Omen Scepter here, which has all the spirit that we need. Plus, it also has a little bit of strength and intelligence, which does help a lot on putting on gear and stuff, and also helps with mana and life. So super, super, super nice. Of course, we also have the increased damage dealt by allies and presence. Not really something I need, but it's nice when you're running in a group. And of course, Malice is super, super nice for our criticals. And then we have our boots here, which I have corrupted. You do want to try and corrupt these and get the overkill to go above 30 to gain even more damage. But the second best outcome would be 2 sockets for more life. So I'm just sticking with these for now until I find some more and I can corrupt them. For the rings, the most important part here is basically tapping out our resistances with the last we need, plus having as high cast speed as physically possible on the rings, because that is just a lot of cast speed. Same goes for the second ring. It's basically the like 2 fairly identical rings. We put the quality as caster for even more cast speed. And yeah, so for the gloves, we are using at series, and again, this would be nice if you corrupted it and got like more critical chance. That means you can save some gems or jewels on the tree instead, and then put on other jewels that's more effective for the build. We got our belt, which gives us some more mana, some strength, which is nice because strength is more life. So any strength you can get is just super nice. A little bit of resistances as well. And then last but not least, we have our Invictus, and this one I have also corrupted. Now, it would technically be better, you could say it would be better with another socket, but I honestly don't mind it without the 5 sockets, since it went up on life and it went up on armor, evasion, and energy shield, which gives us a little bit more defenses. Since we do not have a whole lot of defense on this build, it's pretty much a super offensive build, so it's all based around you being able to crit every enemy. And how are we achieving that exactly? Well, we are achieving the crits from our spark, and as you'll see right here, the critical chance is 100%. So we literally have 100% chance to crit. That means every spark is a crit, and with that comes the ability to cast our cast on critical, which is our ice or frost wall. And the frost wall then builds up in a circle due to our fortress. It'll build up a circle around the enemy you hit, and the greater lightning bolts will then explode the circle of the frost wall, dealing a absolute god tier amount of damage. So yeah, that is the gear. I am currently rocking the immunity to ignite because I found ignite being my biggest downfall on this build. The one thing I die to the most is definitely getting ignited. So after putting this on, I've died a lot less. And of course, there's also a little bit of room for improvement here. I would not have minded having a 3 slot here and being able to put on a couple of other things like cannot be frozen and cannot be slowed. That would have been very nice to be able to put those on. But we'll make do with this for now, since it's so good and it's performing so freaking well. Now for the gems, again, we are on our lightning bolt, we are rocking ingenuity, spell echo, consecrated effect, and considerate casting. On our Eye of Winter, we got Cold Pen and we have Cold Exposure. This is basically no longer useful for me, to be fully fair. It's very, very, very rare. I don't really use it anymore. I used to before I invested the 35 Divine into the jewel that I put on. But after I've gotten the jewel, there's no real need for Eye of Winter anymore. I still have it on just for the fuck of it, but there's no true need for it anymore. Spark, again, with our Spark we're rocking Arcane Tempo, Acceleration, Chain, and we got Inspiration to lower the cost, since we are spending life as our cast. When we're casting, we're spending our life as well as mana, so that, like, downgrading the cost just helps out a lot with staying alive. On our cast on critical, we're using Frost Wall, we got Fortress, we got Spell Cascade, we got the Magnified Effect, and we have Energy Rendition. And then we're using Blink because Blink helps us around, like move around faster. And since we don't have a whole lot of movement speed, we only have 15 movement speed. Getting the using the Blink to move around just helps out a lot in both in places like the King of the Mistfight, for instance. When you have to run the labyrinth, having that is really, really useful. Or running maps, and some people have like 35% movement speed, then it's hard to keep up with them if you're not using Blink. So that's the main reasoning behind using Blink. And we got Vitality and Clarity on here, and then we got Grim Feast, of course, to double our energy shield to have a little bit more survivability in maps. This is not a must, since we only have 600 energy shield. We'll basically get to 1200 energy shield, and with our life remnants we'll get to around 4800 life. So it'll be like an effective health pool of around 5k, 6k in that area you should expect. And then we're using Overwhelming Presence. This helps us a lot with reducing the threshold for elemental elements on the enemies. And on top of that, we got Cannibalism on this one. And then we have Soul Offering, and we have a Skeleton Cleric. So the Cleric, we used the Cleric because it's the cheapest spirit cost. For a Skelly, you could technically also use a Scepter that provided 2 skeletons, but since I needed the Malice more than I needed the Skellies, I have the amount of spirit that allows me to invest the 20 spirit into this. So I thought, why not just invest into a Cleric? And we also have Meat Shield on here, just for a little bit more life for him. And then we use our Bone Offering, which is the reason we have a Cleric in the first place, to gain basically more spell damage on our attacks. And on our Soul Offering, we have Persistence, we have Fond of Blood, and we have Minion Level. And last but not least, we have our Curse, which is Conductivity. And on this we have Hex Bloom, and we have Cursed Ground for it to stay out a little bit longer. Also on the second hand, we have a Sigil of Power Staff with +3 to all spells. So that does actually apply to the Sigil of Power. So now we have a level 21 Sigil of Power, which gives us even more damage. And it just all comes together real perfectly. And as you'll see right here, if I put on my Sigil of Power and then we do our Skeleton Cleric, we're now at 58k damage. Don't trust the tooltip at all. This is just to show like how much we go up in damage, right? Basically almost 2xing the damage. But the true damage is more around like 30-ish million, 30 to 40 million damage, our DPS. That's roughly where we at right now. Now for the tree, so of course we have all 4 ascensions, and we grabbed the crits for our spells, and we grabbed some leech, and then of course we just went straight up here through the energy section, energy shield section, and then we went for the crits here, we went for the elemental over here and crits over here. We went for the crits up here. We grabbed a little bit of mana regen and reduced mana cost. And of course the intelligence right here. And then we grabbed some more crit. We grabbed more crit over here. We grabbed even more crit down here. And then of course we are pathing to as many jewel sockets as we can. Then we have our lightning damage here and some extra damage from this one, and we also grab these, and the reasoning behind that is due to this jewel, which is the 35 divine jewel that I just added to the build. Now this did take this did triple the price of the build, but it also basically like 10x'd our damage, right? Like we went from having around, I think it was like 4 or 5 mil damage to now we're doing like 30 to 40 million damage, and it's just insane. This gives us so much damage, it's ridiculous. So every one of these big nodes provides extra damage as cold and lightning. So all of these are basically damage nodes, that's why we have them. And as I said, we are pathing to any type of crit or any type of jewel socket we can to just get more crit chance and crit bonus. As you'll see, that's basically the theme around all of the jewels here, except for the one unique jewel right here. And then of course we will be swapping out the jewel in here for Metamorphosis in the future. We'll be grabbing this node, we'll be grabbing this node, and this node. The order I would grab them in would be number 1 taking this one, number 2 would be taking this one, number 3 would be this one, number 4 would be this one. And as you'll see right now, if I go to this right here and we open up our Spork menu, if I take this out right now, you'll notice that my Spork is still 100% crit chance. So for that reason, we can now basically swap out one of our jewels to get the Metamorphosis, and then that way get even more damage and a little bit more survivability and stun threshold, which is all very, very useful for this build. And that being said, to give you kind of an idea, the rotation you want to do with this specific setup is gonna go something like this. You put your Sigil of Power down, you hit your Spark once, you do your Bone Offering, and you put the curse on the enemy, and then you start putting your sparks out, and you want to have this all be combined into one section, so that way the second the boss lands, he's landing on your curse. You already have the Sigil and the Bone Offering up, and you're already throwing out sparks, so the second he lands on this curse, he gets cursed, and then boom, he instant dies, as you'll see in the clips. And yeah, that's about it for the build. It's at the moment one of my favorite builds. I still love my monk. Like, that thing is just crazy. This one is even more crazy when it comes to killing bosses, but in terms of mapping, I prefer using my monk, to be completely fair. But we'll see what happens once we add the Metamorphosis into the build and see if that does something that makes it to where it feels better than the monk. Then I might stick with just using this build for now. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed what you've seen. If you wanna check out more of my stuff, feel free to subscribe, like, comment, all the good jazz. And of course, there is a Maxroll guide in the description for this build as well. There is a and I keep updating the Maxroll build with the new additions I put on the build. I'll put that in the Maxroll guide right away as soon as I get a new addition to it, or change something on the tree, for instance. But as of right now, everything should be up to date, and I really, really appreciate all of you for watching. I'll catch you all in the next one. Hopefully, I have not done it. This is my first time trying this. So. Hopefully it will be easy. Oh, we got it. Come on. Easy. Easy. It was only T1, so. So this is what the tree is looking like right now.
Fourth edict already burns for your world. Insignificance. This is the legacy of humanity.
Easy. Life and mana. Okay. Is there gonna be enemies in here? No. Okay. What the fuck? Oh, okay, that was a joke. What the fuck was the...
You cannot stop us. We will take the power that we deserve.
Not if I take yours first.
First one's high.
I can't give up. I must save my people. No, I will succeed. I will burn you alive.